No matter how good your intentions are, it can be a struggle to stick to a New Year's resolution. And then as time goes on, people less likely to stick to their goals.
Yeah, according to the website Discover Health Habits, 71% of people are still successful after 2 weeks. But after a month, that number drops to 64%. And in 6 months, well, and fewer than half are still successful. So joining us now with her 5 tips to help you stick to those resolutions is Vanessa Coppes, the editor-in-chief of Bella Magazine. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
All right, Vanessa, the struggle is real, so help us out. How do we set ourselves up for success? What's your first tip?
The struggle is very real. And the first one is to make a plan, right? We tend to have these grandiose visions and wishes and goals that we want to tackle at the beginning of the year, but you have to make a plan and really write it out. Instead of it being just in your head, you have to know when, where, and why this goal is important to you, so write it out. That's the first one.
Okay. So next, you say that baby steps can really help us from getting discouraged. And I was just saying earlier, it's January 10th, and if you haven't done something or you missed a day, you start feeling bummed out about it. What can you do to prevent that?
Well, because a lot of us tend to be like all or nothing, right? And the thing is, a lot of us have exercise on our to-do for the beginning of the year, and we go in really hard for the first week, and then we're so sore the next day that we can't even get out of bed. So and it's true, right? And that completely discourages us, and it makes us not want to get up and go exercise. So break it down into smaller goals, and meaning if you want, don't commit to 5 times a week, start with 3 times a week. Okay. 30 minutes, 3 times a week, and slowly, progressively build up till you get to until you get to that 5 times a week, if that's your goal for that month. And really breaking it down into smaller steps helps you accomplish one thing at a time.
Okay, so Vanessa, you say measure your goals. How do we do that, and why is it important?
It is important because this way you are able to track your progress. If your goal is for the next 3 months, I would like to lose, let's say, 10 pounds, right? Every month, you say for the next 30 days, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes. And when you do the math at the end of the month and you're able to track it, you're able to then see how much closer you are to that bigger picture goal, right? And you can say to yourself, okay, so in this month, if I was able to accomplish this, then let me bump it up a notch. And instead of 45 minutes, let me go for the full hour. But you've already have 30 days under your belt. Where you've been able to kind of get used to that goal specifically, and you're able to then track it and know where you are. Because a lot of the times what we do is lose sight of the bigger picture in mind because we don't track it.
Yeah, that's so true. The other reason a lot of people fail is because resolutions are just unrealistic. So how can we still aim high? Because you don't want to make a little resolution that doesn't mean anything. But how do you aim high without going beyond our means?
It starts with being honest with yourself. Is this something that's really important to you? Because sometimes, especially when we're mapping out goals, we're whether it's with a significant other or as a family, this one thing doesn't really matter to you at all, and you lose interest and you get discouraged because it really isn't important to you. So be honest with yourself. Be sure that you have the resources and the time to be able to achieve it. Because if we're filling up our calendar, with these to-dos and really don't have the time to accomplish this goal, then we're going to get discouraged, we're going to drop it, and we're really not going to focus on it at all.
Okay, so Vanessa, we know a good mindset can go a long way. So how do we stay positive when it feels like a struggle to reach that actual end goal?
So my one tip for this is to flip it, right? Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of, the soreness or the, because I honestly don't know, unless you're an athlete who really likes to work out 5 times a week, because I know I don't. But you focus on the benefits, right? Like, you're going to get those endorphins, you're going to feel better after the fact. So you really want to try to focus your mindset on the positive aspects of that activity, of that goal that you're after, so that you can really stay motivated. And it can have a really great impact in your life if you flip it in that regards. If you make it into a positive instead of focusing on the negative aspects of it.
We have to check back with you in like 10 days and see how people are doing. We need another every 10 days. Vanessa, always good to see you. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
You too, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Until next time.
All right. For more tips, you can follow Vanessa on Instagram at Vanessa Coppes.